I'm Nigel. I am the co-chairman at Knaresborough Town Football Club. I am also the Chief Executive Officer of Ladybird Daycare Limited and have been for too many years to mention now. I've lived in the area all my life and more recently the last sort of 8 years actually within Knaresborough. Playing wise, obviously junior football and then a little bit of Sunday League but not a lot, and then more frequently this last probably, what would we say, I guess the last 12 years on and off, either with Harrogate Railway, Leeds United Ladies, and then obviously here at Knaresborough. I've been here for the last, I think we're getting on for 3 years now, just coming up 3 years. I first came down when we were discussing setting up the ladies section with Peter. That all went really, really well, and I've just sort of carried on and stayed involved ever since. That's a difficult one, because I don't see myself as a leader. I see myself as a very small cog in a very big wheel. And I just try and play my part and be where I'm needed and do what's needed and do what I can when I can, and hopefully that helps the bigger wheel move uphill, if you like. So I don't see myself as a leader. I just try and do what I can for the club and for the people that really do work hard. You know, the rest of the committee, Paul, my co-chairman, and everyone who's around the club, volunteers, etc.
My name's Paul Howard. I'm retired. I work as a co-chairman with Nigel. I've been involved with the club since I was 15, so 55 years now. So, yeah, player, manager, coach, committee member. I started at 15 because in those days that was the youngest youth team. And it was started by the then secretary, Jeff Waite. He got us all down because before that was just school football, and from there on, this is where I've stuck. Well, Knaresborough Town, you know, it's been here since the early 40s, played somewhere else before that even. So yeah, the club's been on the go for over 100 years, so it is a community club, and we're here to provide and sustain football in the town of Knaresborough for future generations. At the end of the day, we're just custodians of the club and we just keep passing it on.
What teams do you provide?
Shall I do this one?
You can.
So we have a first team that play in the Northern Counties East Premier Division, semi-pro level. That's backed up by a reserve team that plays in the West Yorkshire Premier Division, and then the women who play in the West Riding Women's League in Division 1. They've done really well. They've got promoted every season, starting at rock bottom Division 4. And there's a women's under 18 side as well that have just started with us this year, and a veterans team. So that's the amount of teams.
Seems to cover all the different ages.
Yeah, we're trying to do. Yeah. I mean, you know, over the years we've had junior teams, but then other clubs have taken them on and they're doing a great job with them, and so there was no point competing with them those days. So we just, you know, lads or lasses now are doing well in those teams, and they can progress. There's a pathway to progress through Knaresborough Town.
I think a little bit of an obvious question, Nigel, but a question that needs to be asked. Is this a football club first or a business first?
I think the days of is it a football club or is it a business are long gone. I think with the way finances at the very top level of football have dictated, it's all dripped right the way down to grassroots. And unfortunately nowadays you have to run it as a business. There is no alternative, otherwise the clubs go out of existence. They have been doing, they are doing, and they continue to do so. And unfortunately, you know, as Paul said, we're just custodians here, and we want to leave the club in better shape than we found it, if you like, to pass it on. And that doesn't mean it was in bad shape when we took it on. What it means is we're trying to develop it further and you know, and take it further, whether that be higher up the pyramid, whether it be a more community-based club. It can mean, you know, a lot of different things. But unfortunately, football now is business, and not just business, it's big business.
So what's your long-term view of the future of the club, both on and off the pitch?
I think for me, I think we want to move up the pyramid. I think, you know, the football pyramid for all the teams. Certainly if the women have been doing that anyway, and look, hopefully that they will do it again this season. And that's the ambition with the men's team. You know, we don't want to stay where we are. We want to go as far up the Football League pyramid as we can. But unfortunately, to do that, as I say, it's a financial commitment, and we rely very, very heavily on the companies, the businesses, the individuals out there that very kindly sponsor the football club or make donations to the football club. And without that, the football club ceases to exist.
I'd agree with all what Nigel's just said. You know, you've got to have ambitions to be going higher, playing at a higher standard. And like I said before, you know, there's a pathway for youth in the town, male and female, to progress. But it is difficult these days. It is difficult financially. And so we value everything that, you know, all the input and support that all the sponsors and the fans coming in give us. It's crucial to us.
Obviously, you both mentioned finances there and how intertwined being a football club and business is nowadays, even at grassroots level. How do you plan to balance financial stability with on-field success? Because I know it can be very expensive to assemble squads with, even at the lower leagues and the lower tiers in the FA leagues. There are teams that pay big money for the players that play for them.
I think the thing is, what you have to remember, football and money go hand in hand, but money doesn't guarantee success. It doesn't guarantee that your team's going to finish top of the league. The biggest spenders don't always finish on top of the pile. And we see that it's probably more prevalent in non-league football than it is up in the pro game. So yes, money's important, but we're not suggesting we want to buy our way to success. We just want to keep the club sustainable for the people in Knaresborough. Now, if we can bring in additional revenue streams that mean there's more money available for us to make the matchday experience better for everybody involved, people that are coming through watching the game, you know, obviously the players, and we're performing to a good standard, then that kind of means you're going to be moving in the right direction, but it does cost money. So it is about looking at additional revenue streams, additional sponsors. You know, the door's always open, the inbox is always open. If there's companies out there that are interested in getting involved, I would suggest just reach out and we can have conversations. I guarantee there'll be something we can do.
You've already announced your plans to install a 3G pitch, and that's obviously probably a major focus over what will be the next, certainly 12 months, but more likely 24 to 36 months. Is that vital to the success and even the survival of Knaresborough Town?
I think it will certainly help because, you know, at the moment now we've got the 5 teams. I'm just talking in-house now, and sometimes the game goes on a Saturday because the weather's been bad on the Saturday. The women can't follow on the Sunday, so having the 3G will remove that problem. But also then with the 3G we can offer it to the community organisations around Knaresborough and get them more involved with the club as well. And I think, you know, combining all that together makes it that the club is a major part of the community of Knaresborough.
I assume that also means potential outreach to the local schools if you've got a facility like that that they can come down and use?
And that's
Absolutely, yeah.
the key to the 3G is it helps us in terms of sustainability. There's no question about that. But equally, the kind of the main benefit of having a 3G pitch here is the fact that it's not in a school. So Monday to Friday, from 9 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock in the afternoon, we can put it to good use for the community. Whether that be, we've already got, I think, Rainbow Dementia Group are going to be down here. They're going to utilise it. Henshaws are going to utilise it. The local schools are all going to utilise it during the winter. You know, we've already had all these conversations. When they can't get on grass with their pupils, they're going to come and use it so the kids can still exercise outside, can still kick a football about, or whatever the activity may be. We've spoken to local GP surgeries. There's talk about referring patients who need to get a little bit more active to potentially come down, and take part in walking football, whatever it may be. Basically, again, we're open to suggestion. We're open to ideas. If there's companies out there that have got a suggestion or an idea as to what they think might work that benefits the community of Knaresborough, we're listening. We're all ears. So that's the huge benefit of it. As much as I say, it will help with the sustainability. We are already a little way down the track with the 3G in terms of, I think it's fair to let people know the Football Foundation have already been down and we've had meetings with them, and they have approved in principle a grant, which obviously is the first step. The next stage is obviously revolve around having to fundraise an awful lot of money to put the rest of it down. And we're hoping that the people of Knaresborough as a community and all our friends and businesses and partners who are out there now will support us in that. So we can bring something together which will be fantastic for Knaresborough.
I mean, you've already mentioned local community, and obviously that's the lifeblood of a lot of grassroots clubs. Moving on to, say, fan engagement, what are your plans to try and grow? I mean, you've already got one of the best local fan bases in the area as far as people who come through the turnstiles on a Saturday and a Sunday. How do you envisage improving that over the coming seasons up to the point where you've got 3G installed?
Yes, so I mean, we have a lot of great fans that support us here. I feel that we can engage them a little bit more, by involving them and getting them to give their bit of input into what they think about the club. Another idea with the fans is to make some sort of membership as well that could help the community as well. So it would be like a loyalty card. If working with other businesses in the town, that a member has a club card for Knaresborough Town Football Club, they go into X shop and they can get so much discount. So it's a little bit back to the supporter and it's business into the community as well. But certainly engaging with them just that little bit more and getting a feel of what they think of what we're doing.
One of the incentives we brought in this last season was we gave out tickets to all the junior football clubs in the area and all the schools. And basically the agreement was that every single class in every single year group, so from reception all the way up to year 6, were given 2 free family tickets to give out every single week. And all the primary schools sort of bought into that in the area. And they do give them out for various different reasons. It might be Friday Superstar, it might be someone's attendance has improved, it might just be that they feel that child might benefit from it. And that really seems to work. And we have a lot of people who come up and say, oh, my child's won a ticket for the game and so on and so forth, which is great. And it's about giving back into the community as well as, benefiting from the community, as it were.
With regards to the match day experience, how would you describe the fans' visit to Knaresborough Town?
I think most people that come into the ground enjoy the experience. So just ordinary fans just coming in and a few sandwiches, burgers from the tea hut and watching the game, that's fine. we do offer match day sponsorship where people can come in, have a talk with the manager, to get some refreshments at half time, and we make a special day of it for them. So, you know, trying to improve it more in that way.
And you've got a wonderful facility here with a bar and a large open area for events to be held.
Yeah, the clubhouse is always available for events. You know, and again, just reach out and we can discuss what your needs are and pretty much create something for you. In terms of the matchday sponsorship, I think it's important to mention it's not just companies, it's not just for businesses. That could be a group of friends who fancy a Saturday afternoon out and making it a little bit more special. You know, so it's open to anybody. The idea is that we want to be open to all and be available for anybody who wants us. Whether that be in a private party and they don't ever come to a football match, or whether that be a group of guys, as I say, that want to come and enjoy a Saturday afternoon.
Okay. Turning our attention a little bit more towards the squads, as you've already mentioned, you've got a men's team, you've got a reserves team, you've got a ladies and an under 18 ladies team. The ladies team's been added one was added about 3 years ago, just under 3 years ago now, and you've just introduced the under 18, so there are ways for people to get involved at all ages within Knaresborough Town. What is your philosophy for, maybe that's probably a little bit too much of a heavy word, but what's your ideas for developing and nurturing talent, young talent, and local football talent within the area?
I think moving forward, it all works together with the 3G. If we get the 3G up and running, then we have the facilities to bring in more junior sides, more sides, to create that pathway through to adult football.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's, I think that has to be the key, is to give a good facility that's available for every age group. And that includes the junior sections and the junior teams that are already in and around the Knaresborough area and all doing a fantastic job. You know, we're not saying this is Knaresborough Town's overtaking everything. That's not the case at all. You know, but the 3G will be available for those to use. And we already are partnering up with Nigel United. That's sort of something that's already ongoing, and they're helping with the 3G process. So it is something, obviously, that as a football club you have to look at. That is the obvious area that you can expand into, is into junior football. But it's not going to be anything we do to upset those that are already established, shall we say.
If somebody wants to get involved in football, certainly at the junior levels, how would they do that?
Well, I think in terms of the junior football and around Knaresborough, there's obviously Knaresborough Celtic within Knaresborough. Scotland Scorchers just on the outskirts of Knaresborough. Celtic have a very good setup. I think it's predominantly for boys. Scotland have a very good setup, and they do have a very good female setup. And obviously, Nidge United are the kind of the extension of Scotland. When the children get to, I think it's about under 12, they become sort of Nidge United. So there are great options out there within the junior section for young footballers. And all those clubs have relationships with us in terms of they can come and do mascotting on a match day. You know, we're happy to have clubs and teams down to come and do mascots. It doesn't even have to be football teams. It could be classmates. We could have a class from Aspin over the road come down and be mascots for the day. So there's all sorts of things. As we said, we've already mentioned, but it's about being open, it's about being inclusive, it's about having something for everybody in this community. And that's the beauty of when we get to the 3G and we're offering walking football and disabled football and move for mental health and all them sorts of incentives. When we're offering all that sort of thing, then it needs to be inclusive. It needs to be that every person in Knaresborough, no matter what your age, no matter what your skill set, no matter what your abilities or disabilities, can come and kick a football at Man's Lane.
I'll play other games. Doesn't always have to be the football.
That's a fair point. How does the club plan to navigate the difficult minefield that is grassroots sport at the moment? appreciate things like the cost of living crises, the energy prices going up, and obviously you've got huge lights and a facility to run. How do you both plan to deal with the financial aspects of that and the day-to-day running of the club?
We have a very robust system of accounting, I think. Yeah, we're regularly updated on how the funds are going and what's needed, and we're fully aware that it is difficult times, and we've got to be careful with the money, obviously. But I think that what we have in our the club governance helps us get a good idea of where we are financially and forecasting into the future.
We can't make any bones about this. The football club relies heavily on sponsorship and donations, and without that, then the club basically stops. The ball stops rolling, and that's the end. But the third thing that tends to get overlooked is volunteers. Now, we have a brilliant group of people who help put on match days, give up the time for free, and help put on match days, and help Knaresborough Town be the club it is. But there's not enough of us. There isn't enough of us. We need more bodies, and that is almost as important as the finances. Having that extra body or two to come and bounce ideas around at a committee meeting, to have fresh eyes on things, is invaluable. And again, the door's open. If there's people out there who are interested in getting involved in running a football club, I would seriously ask them to get in touch.
Even if it's just doing the day-to-day maintenance outside, and just helping out. Extra hands, like Nigel said, it's just invaluable. And people would find that would get some enjoyment out of it, I feel.
We have a group of guys that meet every Monday and every Friday, and they just do a little bit of pottering around for a few hours, don't you? A little bit of maintenance, and drink a load of tea, probably.
Tea and biscuits.
I'm not old enough to be in that club yet. But they have good fun. It's great for them from a social aspect, but they're doing so much good for the football club. So the door's open. I've said that a lot.
What are your aspirations and priorities for the coming seasons, whether that be on the pitch or off the pitch? What, if you could wave a magic wand and 2, 3, 4 years from now have something or a couple of things, what would they be? Well, might be different answers for both of you.
For me, it would be longevity for the football club, and it would be that the club is the heartbeat of the community, so that anybody on any given day can have a wander down to Manse Lane, can know that there's going to be either the bars open or the tea huts open, so they can get a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, and they know that there's going to be people around and about taking part in activities or just down milling about that they can meet up and have a chat with.
I mean, Nigel's hit it on the head. Nothing else. Yeah, we always play football to be at the highest standard you can, but going with it is just what Nigel said. It's open for people just to come down, enjoy the football, and that's what we're providing.
Again, we've already touched on it, and I think I know the answer to this, but it has to be asked, and I suppose is something that is important to ask and give recognition for. But just how important are the club partners and sponsors to Knaresborough Town?
Oh, crucially important. Yeah, it is. And we touched on it earlier. It is our survival, really. Without that, then we're going to struggle. No doubt about that.
They are the lifeblood of the club. There's no two ways about that. As Paul says, without them, the struggle is real. And again, we could do with more.
Yeah, we really value all the support we get from people. There's been some great sponsors that we've got for us. FX doing the stand, and Sign doing the shirts. TIG printers doing the programmes for us. All helps. There's numerous ones that we, you know, we can't go through them all, but they're all everything that they put in is really appreciated by the club.
And I think there is some major sponsorship news going to break very, very soon, which is massively exciting for the club. I think it's fair to say.
Yeah,
it's something that the club's never had, and it's going to be phenomenal. And that will be out in the next few weeks, hopefully.
A couple of weeks. So yeah.
Sounds exciting.
Yeah.
To wrap up the conversation, I'm going to ask you both the same question. It is a very simple question on the face of it. It's one I've heard it's actually comes from a podcast that I listen to, and the gentleman always finishes his interviews with the same question, and it is deceptively easy. It's deceptively simple, the question. I don't think the answer often is, but I'll go with you first, Nigel. What is your why? Why are you involved with grassroots sport? Why are you involved with Knaresborough Town? What do you get out of it? Because, let's be honest, you don't get paid to do this. So what is your why?
I think for me it's quite simple. I live a pretty fortunate life. I've got a great family around me, a lot of good friends, and I love football. I love my community. I love Knaresborough. I love living in Knaresborough. I think it's a fantastic town. So for me, it's a way of, for some reason, I seem to be okay at doing this kind of work. I don't really know why or how, but I seem to be okay at it. So it's just my way of giving a little bit back. It's just my way of doing a little bit. You know, and if we can create something that in years to come my kids can be proud of, or my grandkids can be proud of, or my kids want to tell my grandkids about it, then happy days.
Yeah.
And Paul?
A lot of the similar reasons, really, yeah. Like I said earlier, I've been involved right from schoolboy age. I love the club, I love football, and just want to see it progressing. I get a lot out of it by, as Nigel says, coming down any time really, but Mondays and Fridays. It's good for my well-being. My wife might say different, but it is. And we're putting things back, you know, something back into the community. As I said earlier, we're just custodians, keeping it all going. And I'm proud when I walk around. I feel proud that things are tidy, and you know, and the group that work with us all feel the same. You know, they come down on a Monday and Friday, they see a little bit of litter, they're picking it up. You know, they feel a good feeling out of doing the work. But for me, it's just I love football and I love Knaresborough Town.
That's an excellent way to end this. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Cheers.